is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman, and guys, tell me down in the comments, do you like cows? Because I like cows, personally. I mean, that's just my preference. I'm quite a fan of beef, personally. But Ireland apparently is not. We got this crazy story from Timcast. Ireland to cull 200,000 cows to meet climate goals. Right, let's just murder the environment to save the environment, because that makes sense. Let's get into it. Ireland's Department of Agriculture is considering the slaughter of 200,000 dairy cows in a bid to meet climate emissions targets. Under the plan, roughly 65,000 cows would be killed every year over the next 3 years at a cost of €600,000 to the taxpayer. Should officials move forward with the proposal, it would make Ireland the latest in a series of European countries seeing their farming communities press under the heavy burden of government regulation in the name of fighting climate change. The paper referred to was part of a deliberative process. It is one of a number of modeling documents considered by the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine, and is not a final policy decision. The Irish Mirror quoted a spokesperson for the Agricultural Department as saying, as part of the normal work of government departments, various options for policy implementation are regularly considered. Over the past decade, dairy cows have increased around 40%, while the number of beef cows dropped about 17%, the Mirror reported. Following a report from the Food Vision Dairy Group last October, Irish officials set a target to reduce emissions by 25%. The agricultural sector as a whole accounts for more than 37% of Ireland's greenhouse gas emissions, according to the report, which laid out 19 recommendations on how to lower emissions. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and stop there because none of this matters. Literally, nothing Ireland does to stop CO2 emissions matters. Nothing at all. Would you like to know why? Because of this right here. Let's look at this list. These are the top CO2 emitting countries in the world. You got China with 11,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide every year. 11,000. Then, of course, you got the United States, you got India, you got Russia, Japan, Iran, Germany, and then you go down the list. Ireland is nowhere to be found in this. Ireland is nowhere to be found. Now, I know what you're thinking, guys. What does this have to do with us, Kendall? This is in Ireland. If you think that this is this can't be done here in the U.S., there's been several Democrat politicians who have already said things like this, including the fact that Miss AOC. I apologize. Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez up in New York stated that we should plug the buttholes of cows in order to stop CO2. Yes, this is something that was actually said by this woman. This was an actual proposal that she made. The reason why I'm showing you this chart is because it's a very good example of why all of these policies, one, they don't make any sense, and two, they will have no effect on the environment. They will solve none of these issues. Okay? Let's look at China. 11,472 metric tons. The next closest is the United States. 5,007 metric tons of CO2 every single year. Okay? China produces more than... So you got a top five. China, United States, India, Russia, and Japan. China produces more than the other four in the top five combined. Okay? There is not a single solution that you can come up to, that you can come up with, if it doesn't involve China and these other countries, it's not a solution. The United States could destroy its entire economy. Get rid of all of the manufacturing that we have left. Just completely destroy all of our jobs. We could take away all of the cars. We could put this all the way down to zero, and it won't make a dent. It won't solve a single thing. It won't solve a single thing. Let's talk about this. The United States makes up, U.S. accounted for 14%. This is the global emission statistics. The United States amounts for 14% of global emissions. Only 14%. So, we could literally destroy our entire economy, and it will not make a difference. We could take away everyone's jobs, force everyone to stay at home, and it won't make a difference in CO2 emissions. It won't. This just goes to show you how foolish all these quote-unquote solutions are, because none of these solutions that the government keeps putting forward here in the U.S., none of them have any of these other countries involved. It's all about, let's destroy our own economy so that we can make ourselves feel better. Or is it more of a fact that all of these policies, in reality, they all just give more power to the government? Of course, that's what it is. Yeah, all of these policies, for example, let's take the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal essentially gave the federal government complete and total control of the entire economy. Complete and total control. All in the name of saving the environment. Guys, we need to keep fighting. Obviously. This is, I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. Because we know, obviously, this is an issue that's going on in Ireland, but there's already talks from Democrat politicians right now to try to do this here. As if killing a bunch of cows is going to solve the freaking problem. Now, personally, I personally believe that many of these people that are pushing this type of environmentalism, I personally believe that you are the carbon that they want to destroy. You are the carbon that they want to get out of the atmosphere. It's you. It's not CO2. I believe that many of these officials truly believe that getting rid of the majority of humans would solve this issue. I truly believe that. I truly believe that they believe that. But I don't know, man. We look at abortion. We look at what they're doing to children with the whole transgender issue where they're essentially castrating kids. Yeah, man. How are they not trying to lower the population? Look at every major country in the world. They're all having population issues. Every single one. Japan, China, United States, the UK, France, Germany. Every single one. They're all having population issues. But, the environmentalists totally aren't trying to lower the population or anything. I don't know, guys. We got to keep fighting. That's all I can say, man. These policies don't make any sense. They don't solve any problems, but they all end up with the government controlling everything and taking away all your freedoms. That's the reality of this situation. That is essentially what these people want to do. And at the end of the day, they're going to hide behind environmentalism and say, we're trying to save the environment. Yeah, a lot of evil things have been done with good intentions. There's been a lot of evil things done in this world behind the guise of good intentions. I don't believe these people. I don't trust these people, and neither should you. We got to stop these people, man. We always need to be pushing back against garbage like this. And I'm not saying we shouldn't take care of the environment. As a Christian, God told us to do that. God told us to take care of the earth and to watch over it and to be good stewards of the earth. So I believe we need to take care of the environment. However, I don't believe we need to destroy our entire economy, take away everyone's jobs, and give up all of our rights and freedoms in order to do so. I would much rather see the free market come up with ways to solve this problem rather than trying to use government. Government, more often than not, is never the solution, but almost always the problem. Let me say that again. Government is almost never the solution, but almost always the problem. Do you know one of the largest emitters of CO2 is the production of military machinery? Yes, the military industrial complex here in the U.S. is one of the largest emitters of CO2 in the world. Oh, but we don't want to talk about that though, because we gotta send more tanks over to Ukraine to kill people. Oh, we gotta drop a few more bombs. We gotta have a few more drones that we can kill a few more Yemenis kids over in the Middle East. Come on, guys. These policies don't make any sense. They are there for the government to try to take more control away from you, try to take more of your freedoms and more of your rights. That's the only thing that makes sense. If they were actually trying to solve this issue, if they were actually trying to solve the issue of CO2 emissions, then they would be trying to get China and these other countries involved. But they don't, man. They don't. They don't care about solving this issue. They care about control. And they care about lining their pockets. That's the reality. Many of these donors, people like Bill Gates, people like, who's the CEO of Amazon, whatever his face is. A lot of these donors, these billionaires, are donating for causes like this, and they're going into the pockets of these politicians, or at least they're going into their campaign funds, which keeps them in power. That's what they want, guys. They want more power. They want to line their pockets. They want to become more rich. That's the reality of it, man. They want more power over you. They want to take your freedoms. Because the more of your freedoms that they can take away, the longer they can stay in power. The less power you have to remove them from their position. That's the reality, man. That's the reality of it. It's a scary reality, but it's the reality we live in, and we need to fight back. We constantly need to be fighting back. All right, I'm going to have another story coming for you guys in just a second, but before I get into that, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and share this show with your friends. Speaking of corruption, we got this story from Just the News. Doctored evidence? Democrat-led J6 panel added audio to silent security video for primetime hearings. Let's read. The Democrat-led House Select Committee to investigate January 6th doctored a key piece of its evidence, adding audio to silent U.S. Capitol Police security footage used to create a dramatic video montage for the opening of its primetime hearings last summer, according to a Just the News review of the original raw footage and interviews. In at least two instances identified by Just the News, the panel's sizzle reel that aired live and on C-SPAN last June failed to identify that it had overdubbed audio from another unidentified source onto the silent footage. Multiple current and former Capitol Police officials, as well as key lawmakers and congressional aides, confirmed that the closed-circuit cameras that captured the video do not record sound and that it was added afterwards. A former spokesperson for the January 6th committee told Just the News that the panel was supposed to clearly mark any video that was dubbed with another audio source, and it did so on some occasions in the sizzle reel. But Just the News identified two key pieces of Capitol Police closed-circuit television footage, one from an inside angle showing the dramatic breach of a key entrance to the Capitol by rioters, and the other an aerial view of the agitated crowd outside, from a camera system that Capitol Police officials confirmed did not have sound recording capabilities. Yet the footage shown by the committee inexplicably included sound on the video montage that they produced. That video is without any disclaimer showing the audio had been dubbed. You can see those videos in the player above. Spokesman and other aides for the January 6th committee and its former chairman, Democratic Rep. Benny Thompson, a Democrat from Mississippi, did not return repeated requests for comment on why the two key scenes were dubbed without the public being told. It's because they want to manipulate you. That's the reality of this. I mean, it's become common knowledge at this point. You know, the January 6th committee was, you know, it was a sham. You know, There was no counter evidence that was allowed to be seen by anyone. There was all stuff like this, you know, doctored evidence, you know, adding sound onto a video to make it more dramatic. My question is, though, since they're this corrupt, what else have they doctored? And that's the question that we always get to. Tell me down in the comment section some stuff that you think the government has done in the past that we might not know about yet. Tell us. Tell me down in the comments. I'm interested to know about it. And if you have any kind of like news articles, post those down in the comment section as well. I'd love to be able to talk about them here on the show. But guys, man, this is insane, bro. These politicians are so power hungry and so evil that they will doctor evidence to try to make innocent people look bad. The majority of people who were there at the riot on January 6th were people who showed up after the rioting was already over and just wandered into the Capitol. Many of those people, it's on video, many of those people were allowed into the Capitol by Capitol Police. They were waving them into the building. Many of the Capitol Police were holding the doors open for these people. You can have these videos, sure, where there were rioters, absolutely, and those people, throw them in jail, you know, after you've had a fair trial, of course, which many of them have not. But if there was someone that was rioting, breaking windows, busting down doors, you know, fine, throw them in jail, whatever. But then, of course, if you're going to show that, you need to show the other side of the building where people were being waved into the building and cops were opening the doors for people and saying, yeah, come on in. I don't agree with it, but I support your right to protest. And then you've got the fact that feminists in the past, when they wanted to protest something, protested inside of the chamber, being very disruptive inside of the chamber. Why weren't these people allowed to be inside the building? Yes, in the past, I believe it was during a hearing on, you know, they were trying to bring in a new Supreme Court justice. I forget which one it was. But yeah, these feminists were inside of the chamber being disruptive during a vote, in the middle of a vote. Oh, but there's many of these January 6th rioters who are being thrown in jail and being charged with disruption of a official proceeding. Like, oh, okay, so are we going to go back to all of those feminists back in the day and you know, go arrest them and throw all of them in jail? No, I don't think they will. Of course they won't. Because we have a two-tier justice system here in the United States. That's the reality. We have a two-tier justice system. You don't live in a free society because your society has laws. You live in a free society if those laws are applied the same, are applied equally among everyone. For example, if there's a road right out here, speed limit's 45 miles an hour, okay? If I were to drive 70 miles an hour down that road and get pulled over by a cop, I deserve to get a ticket. I didn't follow the law. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I deserve to get a ticket. If a local politician drives 70 down this road, I would expect that if they get pulled over, that they would get the exact same treatment as me. Now, if a, blue-haired feminist were to drive 70 down this road and were to get pulled over, I would expect they would get the exact same treatment, because at the end of the day, all three of us didn't follow the law. Of course, this is a hypothetical situation. I would never drive that fast. Never. Totally. Absolutely not. At the end of the day, guys, the laws are not being applied equally in this country. You have a Supreme Court judge who the Senate is trying to vote into. Actually, no, it wasn't the Senate. It was the House, I believe. The House is trying to vote in this Supreme Court judge, and you have these feminists, these massive crowd of feminists in the upper chamber being extremely disruptive, and the vote can barely get through. It can barely happen because of all of the disruption. But you have these January 6th rioters who are being thrown in jail for disrupting an official proceeding. The laws are not applied equally. And of course, let's be honest, if you or I were to do something like this, were to doctor evidence in an official proceeding, we would be thrown right in jail, right to jail. But of course, you know, if you're a politician, you apparently get the right of way. You apparently get to go scot-free. You just break the law at will and constantly get away with it. All the time. What about all these politicians who, back during COVID, were making laws for you but not following them? Rules for thee but not for me. I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I think that the only person in our entire country who, you know, the only person in our country who has a chance to actually do something about it and to actually solve this issue and is actually talking about trying to solve the issue is Donald Trump. And that's going to lead me into my next story because, oh boy, Donald Trump leads Ron DeSantis in Florida by 20% in new poll. That's in Florida. Goodness gracious. And it's because of things like this, because of the corruption that we're seeing in our government. People are sick of this garbage, man. They're sick of it. And right now, Donald Trump is the only person. I mean, maybe Vivek Ramaswamy has been talking about it a little bit, but ultimately, Donald Trump is the only one for years now who has been talking about getting into office, finding out who these people are, and getting them out of our government, making changes to fire these people, and put our country in a situation where we don't have to deal with these corrupt people anymore. Now, I personally believe that there's going to be a lot of elected officials that we personally, as the citizens of this country, are going to have to get out of office. We are going to have to vote them out. And that's going to be hard because, you know, you got freaking ballot harvesting and ballot chasing and all that stuff. You know, it's difficult. It's hard. But it's a fight that needs to be fought. It's something that we're going to have to do. It's something that we're going to have to take on, you know. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump, I believe, is the only person that's actually trying to fix these issues. I truly believe that. Who else in the Republican Party is talking about this? This level of corruption. Who else is talking about it? I don't know, man. I can't really think of it. I mean, like I said, Vivek Ramaswamy, but I mean, what chance does he have of winning? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I think that Vivek would maybe be a pretty good vice president. Maybe in 2028 he would be a good president. I don't know. But guys, we got to keep fighting, man. We got to keep fighting. We got to keep pushing forward. We got to keep waking up to all of this garbage that is going on. We don't live in a society anymore where we are allowed to just keep our head in our phones and just act as if the world is not going on around us. This type of garbage, this type of corruption is happening every day in our country. Every day. But it is allowed to happen because, one, the majority of people are so caught up in their own lives that they don't pay attention. And two, good men, where are they at? The only thing that is required for evil to succeed is good men to do nothing. Good men doing nothing to solve the issue, to fight back against the evil. That's the only thing that's required for evil to succeed, for evil to prosper, for corruption to prosper. So what are we going to do, guys? When are the good men going to stand up? When are the good men going to do what is necessary to stop this kind of garbage? To say, no, enough is enough. We're done with this. We're no longer going to deal with this corruption. It's over. Where y'all at, man? I don't know. If I'm talking to you, tell me what you want to do down in the comments. Let's contact representatives. Let's protest. Let's do what needs to be done, man. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I will have another show coming for you guys on Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.